Okay, people out there in YouTube land, I had a very interesting conversation the other day with somebody in town, and you have to understand it's a rarity if anybody here in this town that I live in will actually admit that they actually listen to my YouTube videos. But we talked for a second, and the subject that we talked on was perception. And it started like this because they said, Pastor Dowell, you know what? I tell you what, boy, you are a very powerful man. You speak a lot of truth. Now, I don't agree with everything that you say. But man, I tell you what, you have the truth in you. I said, isn't that interesting? I said, I said, you know what? Let's think about this thing called perception for a second. Because, I'm mature enough to know whether it be in Christ or the economic condition of our country or the way that you live. I'm sure that people would always have some form of disagreements because actually, to tell you the truth, disagreement is healthy provided that you're going to do something about it. And so I said to him, I said, if you disagree with something that I say, why do you disagree with it? Do you disagree with it because it comes from your own personal opinion, or have you actually done the research? Because the majority of the time, when we disagree with something, it's because we neither have it in our mind or we don't feel like it's the truth to us. That's not to say it's the truth, because most of us are actually afraid of change. And when we are afraid of change, our behavior, it's amazing what it does. Because see, we use the disagreement to say that, I don't agree, and then we do nothing about it without doing any research whatsoever at all. The one thing I've learned over the years is this, and I want you to listen to me very closely. Please listen to what I'm getting ready to say. I've learned over the years that the people with the argument is always at the mercy of the people with the experience. Did you hear what I said? The people who have the argument, the people who have the disagreement, they're always at the mercy of the ones who have the experience, because the ones who have the experience, they know something greater than the argument. And so it's easy for us to just sit back and say, I don't agree. But, what would be healthy is if we would actually go and do the research before we're so quick to disagree on something. It would be healthy if we could actually go and do the research and see why we disagree and if our disagreement is valid, because we all have different perceptions about different things. Because if you have grown up a certain way, everything else is wrong to you, and unless you have the ability to be able to look outside the box and do your due diligence and do some serious research, whether it be silver, whether it be what people call religion, or whatever it be, before you are so quick to disagree. Do some research, because I know what the human spirit does. The human spirit, if it does not like what it's hearing, it automatically assumes that everything is wrong. Everything. Not just some of the things, but everything is wrong. Over the years, I've learned how painful truth is. And it is painful. But don't sit back and be like a lot of chaotic Americans. Insulating yourself from change, insulating yourself from perfection, insulating from bettering yourself by sitting back and saying, well, I disagree, and you don't do nothing about it. You need to actually go and research and find out and see if the thing is so, because, hey, change is so hard for a lot of people that even after they do the research and they found out what the real truth is, they still have to ignore what they have come to find out to be the truth in order to convince themselves that what they're doing is right and to walk in it. Now, let me explain myself. I've watched people over the years actually go do due diligence and research, and then they come back and find out the truth. And I would ask them, I say, what are you going to do about it? And they said, well, nothing. You know the reason why they don't do nothing about it? Because it's either going to affect your family life, and you're not willing to forsake all. You're not willing to lose all in order to follow the truth, no matter what that truth is or no matter what that truth may be. Or it may affect you economically. And when you come to find out the truth, we have to actually convince ourselves. I call it the normacy bias. And we have to protect ourselves from the truth now, even though we've actually done the due diligence. So you got two types of people. You got people that will sit back and say, I totally disagree, and they won't do nothing about it whatsoever at all. And their life will stay the same. They'll be 20 years old, and their perception on life will be the same at 40 and 60, even up to the point that they, when they die. But then there are those of us, and this is just a few, that when we hear something or somebody say something we don't agree with, we'll diligently go do some research. And the reason why we do that is because we believe in perfection. We believe in bettering ourselves because, if you believe lies all of your life, and then you hear something, they go, wait a minute. Could there be a chance that somebody knows something that you don't? Could it be? That's what I found out. I found out, and I've learned over the years, that before I'm so quick to judge something as wrong and negative, especially if I don't know too much about it at all, I've learned to do my due diligence to go and search out the matter. And if they just so happen to be right, I don't care what it costs, I change. And I will tell you this. I've been able to accept change thus far, up to this point in my life. And I thank the Father for it. I really do. I thank the Father that I am able to embrace change no matter what it is, because, it has always blessed me and come with freedom, because when you're deceived and you believe lies, you're bound. You're in a prison. And of course, as this old saying, a slave that loves his chains has no reason to be set free. And I love truth. I really do. And I love being free. So if I hear somebody say something and I don't quite agree with it, before I'm so quick to throw my opinion out there, especially if I'm not an expert in that area. Now, I don't need a college degree to be an expert. All I need is self-autonomy, independent thinking. Learn how to go do my own due diligence, do my own research, and find out what that truth is. And when I found out what that truth is, since I embraced change, and I started walking in it, I tell you what, it's been a blessing to my life. It really, truly has. Because I've learned that the lie always binds. I don't care how comfortable it seems to present itself. I don't care how wonderful it may seem at that particular time, but it will snare you and it's going to catch you in the end. But I've learned also that the truth always sets free. Oh, you're not going to like it. When I hear truth in the very beginning, I'm like, what in the world? There's an automatic rejection there. But boy, I'll tell you one thing, when I actually go, I can't get rest until I find out what that truth is. So that's the reason why you don't see me stretching myself beyond measure. I speak about the things that I know of surety, and then things that I don't know of, I have to depend on what you will call other expert witnesses. And then even at that, I have to go and do some research so that I can be assured that what I'm believing is the truth. And that's all I ask you to do with me. Because I know how we've been trained and how we have manipulated truth to be excluded from our own conscience. Because, think about it. If you wasn't raised a certain way, and if somebody comes with another opinion other than the way you've been raised, then guess what? You're automatically going to reject those people because that's not the truth that you have accepted. But if you don't change what you're doing, you're not going to change. That's all there's to it. So I was raised a lot of ways. You know what I mean? I had a lot of things sold into me. And I can almost tell you right now that almost every single thing that I've learned growing up, I don't hardly do any of it now because I've exercised independent thinking. And that's all I'm asking of you people out there is that before you allow yourself to be deceived and to stay in deception, and when you hear something, before you're quick to make a judgment, try to find out all the matter. For instance, on a religious front, you'll get out there with people who will hear something that I'll say and they'll go, I don't agree with that. And they'll throw away everything else. They would actually limit themselves by their disagreement. And that's not intelligent. Let's go on the economic front. Most of us believe that these greenbacks, these Federal Reserve notes are actually dollars. They're actually money. They believe that they're actually real, true money. So no matter how much the system erodes, no matter how much inflation continues to stare us right in the face, and we feel it in our pockets and stuff. If we don't change our perception of what real true money is, ultimately it's going to bite you. It's going to come back and it's going to get you because you refuse to change your mind. You refuse to do your due diligence. That's the reason why most people are chaotic to you, because they say something other than the way that you have been trained. And most of us don't even know what we believe, if it really is the truth or not. And majority of the pastors and teachers out there, the majority of brokers, economic advisors, insurance advisors, they don't want you to go get another opinion because that opinion may dissent with what they're telling you. But you ultimately are going to have to do what's best for you. And you can't allow yourself to be limited from the truth or insulated from the truth because of a feeling or because of previous training, the way, stuff that's been sold into your mind or previous education. I mean, I have people from seminary, colleges, students, and professors alike contacting me asking little old country me questions about the book. I'm amazed. Why are you asking me? You the one that's got all the education. Huh? And most of them, they'll flat out tell me, I wasted all this money and 4 years to be trained to exclude truth from my conscience. And then I'm trained to go out and to affect other people, to teach them my persuasion and my way of thinking. I call that other deception. Whether we understand it or like it or not in this society, gold and silver is money and has always been money. That's what our currency started with. And that's where it's going to end with too, because, hey, the run of the dollar is just about over. So you can look forward to a war with Iran. You can look forward to quantitative easing in 3 because our country don't have any solutions for this economic tsunami that we're in, but a printing press. No countries out there will not loan us any money to expand our national debt. And why would you want to do that anyway? Think for a moment. They teach you, and because to you, it's austerity measures for you. In other words, you better pay your bills. If you don't, we got judgment for you. But when it comes to the government, there's a double standard. See, we can't follow the same principles that our country teaches and our country preaches. We can't follow those principles because we do it. They got a jail cell for us. But they can print money and they can spend money that they don't have and they can take it from you and then go to bed at night with a clear conscience because they think they're doing that which is right. And of course, every man is right in his own eyes. But if you try to practice the same behavior as a United States citizen, the same way that our government does, you're going to find yourself in a jail cell. Let these criminals go free, unscathed, every single day because the system protects them. It's amazing how hypocritical not only we are as humans, but how hypocritical our country is. So if you're going to nourish the truth, you want to nourish that knowledge within your own self. You want to stop allowing yourselves to be deceived because you don't believe like that. 99% of the time, you don't even know what you believe. And you know the reason why I know that? Because I had to actually start that change within my own self. There are a lot of things that I was taught growing up that I no longer believe because I've actually done the research for my own self. One thing about it, when somebody has a voice of truth, it's powerful, hard to be ignored. I hope that I was able to say something here this morning to help strengthen and encourage your heart. That's the truth, and that's the truth straight away.